What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 10 of Our Way Out. Today with me, I have Jeremy.
What's up, guys? Welcome back.
Tristan.
What's up, everyone?
And in the back, I have JIMI and Curly.
Hey.
So today, our episode is really special to us because we have a special guest, our friend, our sister, co-founder of Underground Grit, Crystal Guerra. What's up, Crystal?
Hey, nice to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, and we're so happy to have you here because we feel like you do a lot of amazing work in the community. You co-founded Underground Grit, so we just want to. Can you tell us a little bit about Underground Grit, about yourself?
Sure.
What inspired you to get involved in this line of work?
Sure. So I'll start with, Underground Grit's been around since 2019, but the birth of it kind of came way before that. So back, if we start from the beginning of my journey, I never thought I was going to do this type of work. I never thought I was going to do like re-entry work. That wasn't really what I signed up for when I went to school. In my head, I was like, I'm going to run a domestic violence program. Like that's kind of the world I wanted to work in. And then I always say God placed me in something different. I ended up doing like human trafficking work and started a program in San Diego because that's where I'm from. And I did that for some years, and I worked like on a task force, and I was working with law enforcement. I worked with like the FBI and Department of Homeland Security. I got like recognized for it. And I always say this, everybody loved that. They loved when I worked with girls. They loved when I was doing victim work. I would take my girls to court and I would sit on the very different side than I would say I would sit today, where it was like testifying against like people who had done really heinous things to my girls or terrible things. And in the peak of my career there, I was like, I really started falling in love with like therapy. And I also never thought I was going to be a therapist. I was like, yeah, that's not for me. I don't even want to hear people's problems like in that way. And maybe it was just me thinking like I don't want to just talk about problems. Like I want there to be a solution for a problem. And so when I started getting trained in more like trauma work, I wanted to then start doing therapy because my girls would always be like, oh, therapy doesn't work. Like I go and nothing comes from it. So I started looking into like different types of treatment and things that would work and like yoga and, let's do EMDR, which is like a special trauma therapy. And that's what actually made me want to be a therapist. But then I realized I was like, I got to get more into this. And I was doing detention work down there, but just for girls. And I wanted to do more of that. So then I ended up going to Orange County. And everybody was like, wow, you're going to leave all of this that you started to just start again?
That's a pretty big jump.
Yeah. And I just was like, yeah, because I'm still Crystal, whether I'm here or there, I'm still me. And so I came to Orange County. I was like a learner. Like I wanted to learn as much from others. And then I realized that like people weren't doing anything like with like certain types of populations in here. I walked into what was considered an XSR unit, which is the extreme security risk use. And everybody's like, oh, these kids don't leave. And when they leave, they go to county jail and then they're just going to go away to prison. And I was like, oh, wow. And they made it seem so scary in that unit. And maybe the kids on purpose kind of try to scare me, but I was just kind of like, oh, okay. I was like, well, can I do like a group in here? Because these kids aren't going anywhere. So I could do like a full 12-week group in here. And I had started doing trainings for probation in Orange County for human trafficking because I was like an expert in that world. And the supervisor of that unit was like, hey, if you ever want to do anything in this unit or in my unit, you are allowed to do whatever you want. Because he had learned about all the things I had done in San Diego. And so he's like, you can do that here. And so I was kind of like, cool, I'll do it. And I started with one group. And I won't ever forget that group because it was a human trafficking group. And at the end of the group, I gave the kids posters and they posted their posters in their cells and stuff about like fighting human trafficking. But I remember for their graduation, I got them all like the Father G book. And I had friends donate them, right? And then I brought them like I was like allowed to bring them like candy apples, but like Mexican candy apples with like the Mexican candy. And then
The caramel.
yes,
Yeah.
but like tajin.
Oh.
Okay, like but like not that. And then I got them like carne asada fries. And so, and so I
It's
brought
sold.
yeah, I brought, and it was like their graduation, and then I made everybody clap for everybody, and it's like enemies. I was like, people at the door were all clapping for each other today, and so I'm like blah blah blah, and then they'd come up, and I remember finishing that group and a staff saying to me like, these kids are gonna go to prison, like you don't need to do all this. You should focus your work on like the other units where the kids are getting out. And I was like, huh? And I was like, oh okay. I was like. And I didn't even know how to react to that. And then the next comment from like another staff was like, why would you get these kids books? And I was like, why wouldn't I? Yeah. What makes them unworthy? And then it just inspired me to get books for the entire juvenile facility. So I got a book for literally everybody in juvenile hall. And I was like, now everybody can get a book.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, that's not okay. And then kids started like trusting me from that group, and they were like, hey Crystal, could you come see me? And I had like only like 2 kids in that entire unit. So then my kids were like my spokespersons. They're like, oh, Crystal's a great therapist. Like she cares. She comes and talks to us and blah, blah. And I would go see them every week. And people would question that too. They'd be like, why? Why are you seeing them every week? Like that's not normal. The therapists here don't do that. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm a different type of therapist. And so I started seeing them, started working with them. And I'll say this, that unit, it was Unit Tango, changed my career, changed my life. Those kids like taught me like when people think you can't change people's minds, I want you guys to know this. I used to believe in life sentences. Like I used to believe that like some people needed to go away for the rest of their lives for things they've done.
Fun.
And those kids changed my life. And they taught me how to forgive. Like they taught me how to like forgive my dad, my real dad, and then look for him and then say, I forgive you. Yeah. And I give all that credit to those kids because I feel like they taught me like courage. They taught me how to stand up for the voiceless. They taught me like a different type of voiceless, not just girls that had been human trafficked voiceless, but like kids that were incarcerated and weren't being heard voiceless. And that was kind of like the beginning of really my reentry life career. And then I think after a couple years of doing programming and stuff like that, I started doing, what did I do? I started bringing in like guests. So like I created like a plan with the unit supervisor, and I was going to bring in a guest like every other week. And then it was like, I was bringing in like Homeboy Industries. I brought in programs from San Diego. Like I brought in programs from Orange County. Like I was just bringing in whoever wanted to come. I would give them a platform. I brought in like my pastors. I was like, can you come and like do a little speech or something? Like it's like, not everybody's going to love you, but like, let's see who likes it. And I brought in like, I remember bringing in my pastors, and then I brought in like my friend Chase, who was also a young pastor. So he was like, and then he's like telling funny stories about me. And I'm like, that's not why we're here. So it was really neat because it was like a cool time. And either some people understood it and some people just didn't. And I knew I was heading in the right direction because one of the staff I remember for my birthday, one of the years, she wrote me a birthday card and she said, thank you for reminding me why I got into this work. I had forgotten. And I was like, wow, like that really like touched me because I was like, I reminded you. And then like, and then you could tell it's like she was like maybe one of the mean staff before, and she evolved into one of the kindest, most loving staff to her kids and all the kids. So that was kind of like the beginning. And then came the fashion show and other artsy stuff that I started doing inside. I would, that was kind of like the birth of it. I think once Prop 57 passed is when I didn't realize kids were going to get out yet, but then in 2017, I testified for the first time ever. And it was the first time a therapist in Orange County had really testified on something like that. Wow. I was up there. I won't ever forget it. It was one of my kids. It was a murder case. And this kid had actually, the crime got committed And then he didn't get arrested for 2 years. But in those 2 years, he actually had changed his life.
Oh, wow.
And so when he got arrested and when I met him, he was like, I don't understand. Like, I changed my life though. Like, why am I not getting out? And I was like, no, you're going to do life, I think.
Oh, I was imagining that.
Yeah.
I'm stressing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think you're going to do life. Please stop saying you're getting out. Because it's painful to hear kids. But it was like pre-Prop 57, and that was his truth. And he was like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. The courts don't care that I've changed. And I'm like, no, they don't. You're an adult court. You're waking up tomorrow and you're going to be an adult court.
Oh my gosh.
And so he was the first kid I testified for. And he, that changed me. You know, I was so scared. I was like, I don't want to testify. I was like, please don't make me testify. I had gone to Italy for 3 weeks on a vacation, and they had been trying to get his attorney had tried to get a hold of me for those 3 weeks. And she was like, so I came back on a Monday. I was testifying on a Tuesday.
Wow.
She was like, I was like, are you sure? Are you sure you need me? And she's like, you're sure gonna testify. And I was like, no, I don't want to. I was like, cool. And my boss was like on vacation. I don't know. There was a lot going on. And I was like, please don't make me do this. And I went up there, and I remember like the judge questioning, like, so you mean to tell me that you do therapy and you do yoga? And it's yeah. And he's like, and you do essential oils. Tell me what those are. And I was like, well, you know, like, I had one of my friends make like an eye patch, and then I put some essential oils on it, and then it helps them meditate outside. And he's like, what? And I just remember it was like he had been, you know, years later, you learn about these judges, and he's like, he had been a public defender his whole career. And he's like, I've never heard of these types of things being done in that facility. And it was kind of like, I feel like it was one of my first like courage moments. It's like, right. And then,
That's powerful.
then he won. And so
You won. What do you mean you won? Was it a fitness here case? And he
won
won
his fitness
To go back to juvenile.
to go back to juvenile court.
Okay, yeah.
So he was charged as a juvenile instead of an adult.
Which is really hard to win.
And it's a big difference if you
In sentencing,
winning that is way big difference. Yeah.
Wow.
So he gave, can I tell you, the hope that institution got after he won was like,
Wow.
the kids were like, if a murder case can win, that means I have a chance.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know, guys. I don't know who has a chance, but that was really hard. And let's not make Crystal testify again. And then I testified again after. So it was really cool.
And you think that kind of like sparked like that cultural change in the facility when that happened, like with everyone else like having hope and just like, you know, being a programmer and whatnot? Do you think?
No.
No.
That it really sometimes doesn't matter.
It was just the beginning. I think it was just the beginning. I'm going to tell you something. I wasn't even fully like I didn't fully see how big that was, right? I saw it. I brought in like cupcakes when Prop 57 passed. Like, I was like, we won.
Yeah.
Yes, you're going to get a second chance. And I mean, think about it like this. I remember one of my boys reminding me, he's like, remember that one staff that would like post things that say would vote no on Prop 57 or something. Like there was that culture, which is the old culture, right? And then there's a new culture of staff that like would never even tell you what to vote for, but they totally supported the kids. And so it's kind of like you have a mix of this like old culture and new culture, and they're clashing. And so it's kind of like that was just the beginning. And then it was like more kids started winning. And then it was kind of like, okay, my kids are going to get out. And so now what am I going to do? So I had brought in these programs, and I was like, okay, I need to link my kids with somebody. I need to link. And so then that's how Suzanne and I were born.
Yeah.
So who's Suzanne?
So Suzanne is like my ride or die. She's the yin to my yang. She became, and I always describe her as like, it was like Crystal. And then it was like, once my kids got out, she was the extension of my heartbeat in the community to my kids. It was like, when they left, I wasn't allowed to talk to them anymore. Like I wasn't allowed to have any type of like anything.
When they left, meaning
Juvenile hall, when they got
came
released.
in.
So I like would work with these kids for 4 years and they would get released one day and I'd be like, okay, I'm never talking to you again, but I love you so much and I'm so proud of you.
why?
It was like a rule.
Oh, for real.
It was a cultural rule.
Okay.
And
Is it still?
I don't know what the rules are anymore. They're all over the place. I think that they're trying to figure it out, I think, right now. But
Gotcha.
but then it was like the rules were pretty black and white. And so I was like, I'm a rule follower. So I was like, I love you so much. I'm proud of you. Peace be with you.
Which is hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would cry, you know, I would be like all sad and emotional. But so she would go out and then it was like they would go to the DMV and she'd like text me a photo and she'd be like, aren't you so proud? And I'd be like, I am so proud. I'm so proud, you know? And then it was like this recognition of like, okay, this is exactly what my kids need. They need that. They need to meet you inside when they're inside. And then they'll feel like they know you. And then when they get out, they're going to continue to go to you and stuff. And that's kind of what happened. And then Jonathan and Edward, my children that won their 707 fitness hearings, came into the picture. And Edward was like, I want to do barbering school. Like, I want to go to barbering school. And I was like, you do? Well, I was like, I don't know. Are they going to approve that? And I remember telling his attorney, I'm like, Edward wants to go to barbering school. And then I told Jonathan's attorney, Jonathan wants to go to barbering school. They're here for 3 more years. So they got found fit and now they're still going to be here for an extensive amount of time.
And the juvenile.
And I said, why can't we do it?
Yeah.
I was like, make them go to camp. They'll do their camp time and they need to level up because that's my expectation of them. And then we need to fight for them to get to go to barbering school.
Mm.
So like, then we took them to I remember we took them to Paul Mitchell. They got to do like a tour of Paul Mitchell.
Oh, Paul Mitchell.
Yes.
Mm.
And we like staff and supervisor came along, right? It was like a furlough. They got to go and do a tour. And we met like the directors for the first time and they were like, wow, this is like, we've never done this before. Like, I was like, oh, okay, well, we can be the first. And, and so we get bought into this like vision of them going to barbering school and doing that while they're busted. And then the higher ups were of probation were like, no, it's like a safety and concern issue. Like, they've never done it. It's never been done. It's like, so no, you have these violent offenders. Like why are we letting them do that? Why would we trust them to do that? Right. And I was like, because what else are they going to do? Yeah. Like, they don't want to go to college. Like, I get it. A lot of kids want to go to college, but not everybody wants to go to college. Some kids want to do trade school or they want to do different things. So he ended up, it was like, we went to court for both of them. And I remember being like, this is not going to be easy. This is like, people are going to get mad at us.
Yeah.
So we go to court. I go to chambers with like the judge and like the court people, but Suzanne stays outside because everybody like knew me at that point. So then I would just go along with it. Or I'd go to the back and they're like, well, who's going to transport? And, you know, everybody's giving me all the reasons why they can't do it.
Like logistics.
Probation can't do it. We don't have enough staff. Can't do it. We don't have enough I'm like, okay, Suzanne will do it. I couldn't do it either because I was working for the county and I wasn't allowed to do that. So I was like, Suzanne, I think Suzanne will do it. And then I come out of the back and the judge is probably going to approve it, not positive at that moment. He's still thinking. And I come back and I look at Suzanne and I was like, how do you feel about driving? How do you feel about driving every day, Monday through Friday? Yeah. In the morning and in the afternoon, picking him up after school. She was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I was like, okay.
Awesome.
But then she like, in that moment, she was like, I have to quit my job.
Oh.
Because she was working for a nonprofit that was not going to be supportive of going against what probation wanted. So it's like contradictory. And then we got our second kid approved and it was like, okay, well now I think I have to quit too now. And so we both quit our job.
I know that wasn't easy.
No.
That's a big leap.
It was really weird. I had a supervisor who like adored me and she was like, you are going to do really cool things. I already know it. And she's like, and I can't wait to get to like support that and watch that. She goes, but all those dreams, like you can't do them in the county. She goes, because the county's so not progressive yet. Like they're not there yet. She goes, but just know that like whatever your decision is, like I'm going to support it. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to put in my 2 weeks today. And she's like, okay. And I was like, I need to find a job.
Yeah, because you still have to pay the bill.
It's all things I have to pay. And I don't know, gas just to get up here. I was still living in San Diego. Like I commuted from San Diego all those years. And so I was still living in San Diego. And I was like, oh my God, I still have things I have to pay for. And that's why I say, I'm like, God is like, for one, he's so good. But he was like, literally like in front of me, just like put that position in front of me. And I like clicked apply, had an interview like in 2 days, got the job 2 days after that. And I interviewed, I did like 3 interviews in that short amount of time. And I literally got the job. And I was like, wow, this is kind of like a dream job. Cause they were like very progressive. They were like, so you're starting a nonprofit? And I was like, yeah, we're starting a nonprofit. And it's like, okay. And like, so you'll work here, but you can totally still do that. We'll be flexible with you. And I was like, okay, sounds cool. And the rest is kind of like history. Like it was like this beautiful, that first 2 years of Underground Grit were rough because we pissed a lot of people off. But it was like, it was good. You know, it was like, I felt like it was worth pissing people off. Like I was like, you know, our big thing was we will never take funding from county agencies. So none of that. And we call it the red tape funding. We don't want to take funding from somewhere where then they're going to think they're like the bosses of us.
God, yeah.
So, but you know, that's us. And then, you know, it's like, I feel like that's what makes us Underground Grit. It's like, we're like the rebels of Orange County.
So,
Yeah, and truly a blessing because going back to you guys give so much hope to those kids just fighting that case, you know, and winning it when you thought it wasn't going to go your way, you know, and then, like you said, God works in mysterious ways. He made that happen and gave all these kids hope after that, you know, and even changed the heart of a staff member, you know, because there's a distance between the inmates and the correctional officers, you know, and I feel like that's a big part in rehabilitation to nurture, especially the youth, to nurture their, like, you know, or just guide them the right direction, because a lot of these kids are misguided. So for you to come in and show them love, care, and then that rubs off on the staff, and they're like, look, I used to think like this, but now because of your actions, I'm leaning towards the right thing to do, you know, following my heart, and I'm helping or just being nicer, you know, that makes a big difference in someone's life.
oh yeah.
So we applaud you both for being brave enough to go against everyone that, you know, was still opposed to helping our community. So that's awesome. Yeah, I'm very courageous.
Definitely is.
And you're a mom, right?
Yeah.
How hard is juggling everything and also being a mom?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say being a mom and doing this work, it's like kind of like a double-edged sword. You know, it's like I feel like it's changed me in my work way. Like I have way more like boundaries and I say no to things. Like, so I'll say like, no, I can't do that. Whereas before I would say yes to everything. Like I'd be like, yes, we have time to do that on a Saturday night. Like we have time to do this on a Sunday morning. It's like now I'm kind of like, well, Mila likes to wake up kind of late. So mommy wants to wake up late too. Yeah. So, but I just feel like being a mom changed me in like, I'm way more protective, I would say, of like teaching my kids, the kids I work with, like being good parents. It's like, it's so important. Like we have a lot of young adults and young people that are dads and moms. And it's kind of like, you know, I always use the example of like Mila's journey, because Mila, I was a foster mom. And so I became a foster mom in 2021. And to this little girl, we'll call her baby girl because that's what they named her.
Baby girl.
And she changed. So not me. This was not Mila, but she changed my whole life, like a lot. And I feel like I credit her for like making me a mom in a sense, but I also feel like she prepared me for Mila and how to like stand up for Mila and how to be like a mom advocate in a sense. And so then I got Mila, and Mila had way more challenges. She had been exposed to substances. She had been, I would call it pre-birth trauma, which, you know, it's like, I don't know how to, it's like, this is the therapy side of me. It's like she experienced things in the womb that caused her to be different when she was an infant. And so she like, cried a lot, but I always, and she had been like a breech. So she had like little froggy legs, and there was like all these things, but she had withdrawals for like, I'm not kidding you. The substance abuse and the impact of substance abuse on infants is like so horrific. And she did not smile till she was 4 months old. And I got her at 3 weeks. And so it's like, I feel like it changed me in that way, like where I'm like very intense with I think the kids now. I'm just kind of like, hey guys, like I feel like I'm more of an advocate of like how substance abuse can impact your children. It can impact when you're pregnant. It can impact all these different things. But then it also teaches me to like go to doctor appointments with my girls or with our boys or whoever and be like, hey, let's advocate for more stuff for them. So like Mila got like speech therapy. She's in occupational therapy. I got her a chiropractor. She's like, she has every type of therapy. We just graduated from physical therapy. And I tell my kids that I'm like, oh, we gotta make a pediatrician appointment, and we gotta we need to request more therapy for them. And then the kids are like, okay, if you want to come, because they don't know how to like advocate. Yeah. It's like teaching them that. So I think like it taught me like mothering the kids I work with differently in a way that's like how for them to be better parents too, or even advocates for themselves. I'm like, you probably need a chiropractor, or like you need, that's like my new thing with like the lifers getting out. I was like, we need to get you a chiropractor. We need to get you da 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 da. It's like, I feel like I look at Mila and just, I'm telling you that she didn't smile for 4 months, but then she's like the most smiley baby if you meet her now. Mm-hmm. And she didn't walk until she was almost 2 years old, it's not normal. But now she runs, and so it's like these milestones that I've had with her. It's like I needed to go through my easier baby girl, the first one. That was like the most heartbreaking goodbye. But like also I'm very grateful for that journey because it just taught me to be a better mom for Mila. And Mila needed a Crystal in her life. She needed somebody who wasn't going to ever let anybody forever again. Mm-hmm. And so I'm grateful for motherhood. I think it's made me a better person. It makes me more of a crier, I think. I already cry a lot, but I do. And I think my mom loved me, and like, my mom and grandma, I feel like they've always they taught me love. And so I know how to love because of them. But then it was like, I didn't know I could love I thought I loved how they loved. And then I became a mom and I was like, no, that's a different love. It's like there's a light in my brain that just like is different, like now that I'm a mom. And so it's like a different type of unconditional love. I'm like, wow, I really understand unconditional love. Like I thought I knew it, but now I know it. And I'm grateful for that. And it's made me better at my job, I think, and better at being Crystal. So
awesome, Crystal.
Yes.
What a blessing. Going back to Fashion Week, can you describe what Fashion Week is inside the juvenile hall, outside the juvenile hall, and how it helps the kids there? I'm sure because me personally, when it comes down to fashion, I came home and I didn't know how to dress. All I knew was to throw on the blues, long side, and that's it.
Baggy shirt.
No one I didn't come home and no one was like, look, bro, you should dress like this because it really changes your appearance, your confidence and your mood truly. Because if I dress with like long socks, some shorts, then I'm gonna feel like a thug, you know.
Other people look at that too and see.
Yeah, and they judge you, and I could be the nicest guy, you know, but that's just my style. Or I could be in a suit and I'm gonna feel very like professional, like people are gonna take me serious.
How do you dress for interviews?
Exactly. So how does Fashion Week play out inside or with the kids?
So in 2017, I got introduced. I had brought in like Richard Cabral. He was like a good friend of mine. He had been coming since like 2016. Actor, poet, incredible.
He is a great guy.
Yeah, he's an incredible human. So I had brought him in. He had been coming into the hall, and he had been, every time he came, he's like, "Can I bring a friend?" And I'd be like, "Sure." Like, I hardly ever say like no. I feel like people would always bring good people. So I'm like, "Yeah, you could bring a friend." And he was like, so he brings in this friend named James, and James is a photographer, and he's Irish, and he lives in New York and Ireland at the time, and you know, and LA. I mean, he was like all over the place, but good friend. So he brings him in, and then James meets me for the night. Like, he meets me inside the facility after he meets with the kids, and he's like, "Hey, I have a really great friend. She, you would love her. Will you meet with her?" I said, "Sure, of course I'll meet with her. She like works for ASICS. Cool. You know, at the time, a lot of people are connecting me to people, so it's not like, even if you're famous, like, I just don't care. Like, are you going to be about your word?" So I kind of how I take things. I'm like, I don't care how famous you are. If you aren't of your word, then I don't care. So, so he was like, "She's really cool. Like, she's like a big deal. Da da da." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll meet with her." So we met at a Starbucks. I'm thinking it's gonna be like a 30-minute Starbucks sesh. It turns into like 3 hours. I do not. And she's like, "How can I help? How can I come in and help?" She's telling me about what she does at work. And I was like, she's like, "I really want to do like human trafficking work." Everybody always like, if they know that I've done that in the past, they're like, they lead with that. They're like, "I want to do human." I was like, "You know what? Her name's Mari." I said, "I have these boys and they're like wild." I said, "They sometimes get in trouble, but they are good boys, and I want to do a project with them." And so she was like, "Okay." She's like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I don't know, like maybe like a little fashion show, like maybe we have like their parents come and their parents get to see them be like in a positive way." That was always the plan. And then it was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I was like, okay, that was like, I'm not kidding you, in July, August. And she's flying to Japan. She's like flying to other countries in the meantime. And she just moved to Boston at the time. So then she's like, "You know what? I'll fly out once a month just for you." And I was like, "You will?" And she's like, "Yes, I'll fly out once a month. And I'll stay in Orange County, and we'll do a full weekend of things." So then I had to like figure out work and like working out weekends. So I said, okay. So then Richard comes back in again. I do like another event inside Juvenile Hall, and I was like, "Hey, we're going to do a fashion show, and I want there to be poetry." And then I started envisioning like what I want. And I was like, I want it to be in the cage. And then I had to like bring in the supervisor. I was like, "This is the vision." I was like, "I want it to be like, you're incarcerated, and this is the cage, and like, this is what it's going to look like. And the runway is with like juvenile hall chairs, because why not? And I'm going to make the kids do street art, and it's going to be like, we're incarcerated, and then you're walking through the streets, like their neighborhoods and stuff like that. And then it's like who they're becoming. And the story's going to be that. It's going to tell us who they are, and it's humanizing our kids that are thought of as monsters." So then I had my friend who's like a DJ / a lot of other things, Aaron. I was like, "Can you come in and do like voiceovers for the kids? And I want them to say, people say 'I am,' and then they have to give you a word." And so it's like all the kids had a word. I told, like, you know, and then I was like, and then I want another voiceover that says, "I am," and then whatever they actually are. Like, "I am enough. Like, I am strong. Like, I'm a good artist. I'm a dad, and I want to be a better dad." You know, whatever the little hearts desired. So it's like a story is being told. And then
Really cool.
all of a sudden it turned into like a production. I was like, okay, I guess we're doing a show, you guys. And, you know, I told the kid, I was like such a psycho. I was like, "I don't want to see you guys come out of your rooms with papers. Like, if you're going to try out to be a poet, like, you better know that poem by heart, because there's not going to be papers in front of you when you guys come and perform." And they're like, "Whoa." And I was
Pressure's on.
psycho. And I just did not care. And like, you guys, I was so out of control. I was like, then they'd perform and be like, "Stop, cut, no." I was like, "You need to start from the beginning." And then I feel like I grew up with that too, where I'd be like, okay, do it again from the beginning. You messed up. And so I would do that with them. And then Mari started flying in on like weekends, and she would do like fashion with them, and they would create shirts, and she was teaching them like Japanese art, and they were all going to create a shirt. And then, I feel like the first show I ever did was the most authentic and pure show. So David,
I was there.
You were there. So you're very lucky. It was probably the coldest show in your life.
Yeah.
It was also freezing outside. The sprinklers turned on. I mean, I couldn't have pictured it more pretty.
Yeah.
The sprinklers turned on outside. It was like so wild. But it was like Richard performed, the kids performed. He had come in and like practiced with the poets. And so they were like spoken word. It was like so deep, so beautiful. I was like, so raw. It was like literally what I envisioned, and it humanized them. And that first show was actually like featured in like a London fashion magazine. It was like super cool.
Have any of the kids gone into fashion or anything since getting out or anything?
So to me, it was like, I don't even know if that was the purpose or goal, but a lot of them wanted to like create their own clothing lines. Like they're like really, that's their thing.
Yeah.
But I think for me, the goal, there was two main goals. It was like telling the story and bringing in people that needed to be there so they could hear that story and like humanize my kids. And then the other thing was the parents. Like I wanted parents to be able to see their kids do something that was like extremely like beautiful and positive. A lot of these kids went in at like 14 and 15, and they'd never been in high school. So they never got to do like a performance. And when they were in middle school, they were like at probation schools.
Yeah.
They weren't even like getting to do stuff like that. And I feel like the supervisor, he was like incredible. Like he like catered, like, so he sent like special requests to the kitchen for like hors d'oeuvres for the family.
Okay.
And like hot coffee and like
there's
hot
nachos.
Yeah, right. It was like cute little foods, but it was like juvenile hall food, but like embrace it.
Yeah.
Because it was thoughtful. And it was the first time ever parents had been allowed in that unit ever, like that, like in the cage, in that kind of, but it's like, that was the extreme security risk unit, that big deal. And it was like probably my most special show. Then we got really inspired by that show. So like the very next year we did another show, and then that one was like bigger. It was like, I wanted there to be the vision of like, we're bringing all the gangs together. We're bringing everybody together. Because what would happen is they would split kids by like, oh, that kid doesn't get along with this kid. So then like the extreme security risk unit was Tango and Alpha. So rivals, right? So there was like the worst rivals of these kids would be in Tango, and then opposite. And then we had like other units, the adult kids.
Separated, huh?
So I was like, no, I want them all together.
Yeah. And that's not easy.
No.
It's not easy,
So
especially kids.
And I had to get like approval, right? From the director, the chief. I had to get like proof from a lot of people, and everybody was like super supportive because they saw the vision of the first one and they were like, we could do this again. And that one was like, Mari's friend had reached out and was like, hey, I'd like to help produce your show. So we did it again in the same unit in Tango. And then we had like lighting. We had like Warner Brothers lighting. Like I was like, wow. We had like one of those people with like special cameras. Like
You still can't.
yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, And the kids felt famous. Like I you know what? For that one, I just feel like it was definitely not like fully my vision, but it was special, and it made kids feel like normal for a day.
Yeah, you forget that you're incarcerated, even if it's just for the day, like you said.
And now
It
we're
really
like,
is dehumanizing. Can't say that word.
Dehumanizing.
Yeah. Because when you're in there, you do forget like you're human, and the culture and everything makes you feel like an animal. So
yeah.
that type of programming coming in does make you feel like, at least for a day, important. I do remember when staff and people will come into our units and bring in programming, like you'll forget for that moment that you're, that you were locked up. And that's pretty cool. Yeah.
To me, it was like, even for us, like I was like, whoa, like this is a big deal. And if the kids did the first show, they were like, whoa. And it was like the mics, the da-da-da-da-da. We had like people cueing the kids when to go. Like it was so, and then it was like the entire unit went dark, pitch black, because we were going to use lights and stuff. So the safety and security, right?
Danger in itself right there, yeah.
But it was like, it was handled. Like it was like handled. And people tried to sort of ruin that show. Like people called out sick, like staff and stuff.
I know what.
But it still happened. And I'm going to say this, it was like, shout out to the staff that showed up and like showed out, because they literally, it's like I had some of the staff were like helping put together the runway. The runway, I had it be like big wood pieces, and it was like every unit was represented on it. And the story was basically like bringing everybody together. Like it was like, we are like, our kids can be around each other. It's like if we create a culture of like separation, that's what makes them even create a bigger rivalry almost. It's like if you just, sometimes there's going to be fights, you know, it is going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's like, put them together because they're going to make up. It's like everybody wants to be outside. Nobody wants to be inside. So that was the last show I did inside. And then that was in 2018. And then 2019, Underground Grit was created. Then COVID happened. We were supposed to have a show in 2020. COVID happened, didn't happen. So 2021 was our first outside show. And that was like, I would say it was kind of cool because it was the first time we had lifers, like real lifers that had come from state prison from Prop 57. So I remember one of our boys having a shirt that said 72 because he was given 72 years to life.
Crazy.
And so it was like, that was magical because it was our first Underground Grit outside show. And then 2 years ago, we had another show, and that one, like I stepped it up a little bit. Like I wanted inside kids to come outside. So we picked a few of the kids that were like being really good. And so they got to come out. They got their haircuts that day. Like we had our barbers, our boys that are barbers, like cutting their hair so they looked fresh and beautiful. And our girls got their makeup done. I mean, it was like beautiful. And then,
So they were able to leave the institution and experience this event as almost like as a free person.
yeah. And
That's
their
awesome.
parents got the
That's juice. That's magic juice.
then now we're having a digital show this year. So that's it.
So yeah, we're hopefully we can make that one. I'm sure we will. You know, we're looking forward to it. Are we able to like bring cameras and
Yes.
shoot and
Yeah.
make like dope little video for them?
Yeah.
For you, for Underground Radio, for them.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yes. You know, it's crazy because like the shows inside, you can't really do that. So it's like James did all of our photography for the first and second show because he's like the only photographer I trusted that wouldn't like keep pictures he wasn't supposed to keep, like certain things like that. I just remember like the unit supervisor was like, please only let James take pictures. I was like, yeah, I know. Like I am a rule, like please. I'm not trying to get in trouble or fired. And so, but then it's like, then they got out and it was like, wow, we can take pictures of you guys.
Yeah.
We can do all the things. So yes, this show, I will tell you guys, is different. It's like, I feel like it's like the kids, if you talk to any of the kids, I was telling them like the vision of the show and like what's going to happen and how it's going to go down. And I like have, every time I tell it, I've cried twice now. Because it's so deep and it's so like meaningful for like the audience. And I said, this is like a love letter to your families. This is what this show is. Because it's like more about like our culture, and it's what's going on in the world today, but it's like bringing it into fashion. So there's like certain things that I'm doing with them, but it's also like storytelling, and they're going to do like some acting. So I know, I'm like, they're like, what? And I was like, so like the second practice day, I was like, I bring out all the scenes and I was like, okay, so like who's raising their hands? Like who wants to be like the person that says hello and thank you for everybody for coming, and nobody's raising their hands. I'm like, this is going to be really rough, you know?
It's also not easy.
Oh.
Step out your comfort zone and like get in front of a camera, and you're like, you know, sometimes you're kind of down with people. It's
Public speaking is one of like my worst fears.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's being here.
when do you guys practice?
Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Every Saturday?
So just not this. So at the end of the month, the last week of the month, we always never have groups or anything. It's like a rest break, but also for our staff to catch up on stuff. So nothing today. That's why I was like,
Yeah. awesome. It worked out.
Yeah, it'll be
perfect.
cool to come on other practices too.
Yeah,
just
See how it is.
see how it is,
Get an idea
Yeah.
for it.
and also just help someone feel comfortable in front of a camera. Like, look, just pretend it's not there. You're talking to your friends,
Yep.
because it's a lot.
It's so much.
Yeah. I know we felt like that when
Our
we
first
started.
couple episodes, it was like the starts were like awkward, but then like once we started talking, it was like, all right, we're good, and then you just kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think once they have, like you said, once they practice and they have a little coaching, you start feeling a little bit more comfortable with. But then you're in front of other people, and then you're
The damn. Now you got other people.
I made them practice so let me just tell you, always it's like we do all the art, we do all the stuff, and like the actual practice of like walking the runway, we don't even do that usually till like close to the show. Like, I don't know why, but that's always been the itinerary.
Yeah.
This time I was like, we're practicing today. So I was like, this is going to be the runway. I'm like telling them what the walk is going to be. And I'm like, wow, I changed things up this time and it was necessary. I was like, the kids like, we're not listening. I was like, I need you guys to go in the hallway. I'm telling them what we're going to utilize in the office is what. Like, this will be a changing room for the boys. This will be a changing room for the girls. You guys are this is going to be closed off. You're only going to be able to do da-da-da-da-da. I'm like telling them like the show, right? And it's going to be in our new space, our new office. And so it's like we're being really creative of like how we're seating people. For the last show, we did a lot of tall tables because it just works. Like, some people don't want to sit and watch a show. They want to like watch and like maybe have a beverage and like watch a show or whatever, or eat their food. So we're going to have, it's going to be like some tall tables, and it's going to be like regular runway. And, it's going to be really special. All of our last two shows that were outside, people got to like RSVP and show up and come. We've changed that. We feel like we're going to make it more intimate, and it's going to be like our close peeps. It's like people who like support us. It's like we're honoring you guys too, It's like
beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like our kids, I've always said it's like their parents, but then we need we want our supporters to come too. It's like people we love, people that like, I don't know. It's like, we wouldn't be Underground Grit if it wasn't for people that loved on us too and that like supported us. It's like Scott, when we opened Underground Grit, he came and he put water bottles together for us, like put stickers of Underground Grit stickers. So it's like, I said, that's like a friend, like that's a true friend. It's like willing to come and help, and I just feel like not enough do we honor like the helpers and other community members that like show love and like stay true to that, And so when you're nothing, and then usually it's like when you become something, like people
everyone's there.
Yeah. So we got to show love to that. And so, so we're just like super excited. I feel like this is like a gift. I never feel like I'm really at work. I always feel like I'm so lucky I get to do this. Like, Mila comes to the office. It's like when people trying to make my kids seem a type of way, I'm always like, my daughter, that's like their uncle. That's her uncle. Like, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, a lot of brothers and sisters.
Family. Yeah.
Like her adoption, it was my family, my very close family, like very, very close family. And then it was my kids. And it was like, that's who filled that courtroom up. I was like, because that's who loves on her. And like, I'm sorry, but like, it was like kids called off work. They like rearranged their schedules just to come to that. We had a couple kids had to get like court approval because they were like on GPS and they were going to be at a court. But I mean, that's what makes Underground Grit. I think it's like we really are like a family.
And also, I want to highlight the fact that it's not easy to bring these group of kids together, especially when they're in that gang life and that gang culture. And for someone to like see their enemy across the hall and like not act on it, that's not easy to do, to bring everyone together. And I'm assuming you guys didn't have no incidents, right? Everything works smoothly. So it goes to show how, like you said, bringing people together rather than keeping them separated makes a big difference, and how one views another, So that's huge in itself.
Yeah.
What has been the hardest, like, what are like the pros and cons of working in this like line of work? Because for me, for example, since I've been home, and being involved with ARC, I've seen some of my friends go back to jail. You know, some of my friends lose their life, and also some of my friends have become very successful. So you get a little bit of everything. How has that been the case for you as well?
So I would tell you, literally, you like stole the words out of my mouth. The two most difficult things I think have been for me is losing kids. And like this year, I lost one of my boys. I've lost several kids, but I lost one of my kids specifically who I had known since he was like 14. And he died of an overdose. And I think you get into this work and you think you might lose kids. I really did. I thought I'll lose kids, but I'm going to lose them to like gang violence. But no, instead I'm losing them unexpectedly to like a drug overdose. And I feel like my first couple kids I lost were like shocking. It was like the day I became a foster girl, like the day I got baby girl, original baby girl, one of our kids died that same day.
Wow.
In that morning. And then
From drugs?
From overdose. And then 2 months later, one of my boys who we'd gone in and out of treatment. We've been incarcerated. Like it was like so much struggle. I was like, we finally made it. You got out of treatment. You're doing good. Like he had graduated treatment. And I like not long after he passed away also over an overdose. And so I just feel like that has been probably one of the most challenging, one of the most like, I feel like with like those, the two, well, the three, but specifically my kid that finished treatment and then my other kid that recently passed away, there's this like weird feeling of like somehow I failed you. Like it's like, what could I have done different? Like what could I have done more for you? And so that's really hard. And then, and then I've been dealing with the getting back incarcerated thing since I think underground grant started. And I feel like, you know, I remember two of my kids got incarcerated and they had committed a new crime. And it's like, these kids have been given second chances. And it's like, and I remember somebody from inside, like a staff, had tagged me in like blaming me, like for not being like enough help for these kids. And I was like, whoa, like that was like hurtful. And I remember crying about it. Because what people don't realize is like, I'm a tough girl, but I'm super sensitive. I'm like a very sensitive person. And when my kids mess up, I take it super like hard. And I've been in court where my kids, they go back inside and I'm like explaining myself and them to the court. And I'm like, I'm sorry that we did like this happened and I'm like apologizing. And I think people don't realize like as a helper, sometimes you constantly feel like you fail when people fail. It's like, there's no other words to put it. It's like, so that has been like the toughest for me. There was a point where, like I kid you not, it was like this group of boys that like I had worked with for years all inside. And we had done like magical things. Like they had gotten to do special furloughs. I'd gotten to take them to do things. And they were like the courage boys, like the ones that like started like the change inside, and a group of them all kind of got out around the same time. And then they all slowly started going back in. And I remember, this is going to sound so wild, but I remember feeling like, God, I'm like not good at my jobs. Like I am a total failure and I'm not good at this job. Why am I doing it? And more than wanting to quit, I remember like not wanting to live. Like I was like, God, I hate what I'm doing. Like I hate that I'm not doing a good job. Like I have failed these kids. And I don't know why my brain thought like that, but it did think like that. And I remember I'd never been so low, I think. And I just was like so sad. And I went through like a depression. I went through a depression. And And then my kids, it's like they get on substances and they get kind of mean sometimes, and they'll say things like, "You failed me," and I'm like, "I did." It's like, okay, cool, because I already thought I did, so thank you for sharing that. But and then they get sober, and I'm like, "I didn't mean what I said," and I'm like, but it's like this job is not easy, and it's like as much as you see like people, like I'm people. You'll see my positive posts, or you'll see like these joyful moments. It's like there's a lot of sad and dark moments too. Right? But who wants to see those? It's like not many people. It's like, and there's so much sad in the world. So who wants to see more sad? But if you followed me long enough on social media, you've seen me through all my little grief moments and stuff. Because I try to be as real as I can be. But some of that stuff I do keep to myself because it's like so painful for me. But yeah, that would be probably my hardest moments.
Yeah, because it's not, like you said, it's not rainbows and butterflies all the time. It's not always like, it doesn't always go your way. And you take it personal because you're passionate and you care. But you've done really great, and I'm sure you've changed so many lives. You've inspired mine, us.
And mine, man.
Yeah, we really appreciate you sharing that, because we feel it's important that people need to see the reality of the works. It's not just like these success stories. There's also a lot of battles that go on that people don't see.
So, yeah, and that's all the stuff that is not highlighted, but it's daily struggles for individuals coming back home. They're trying to stay on the path. Like, we don't, you might be in there helping them out, but when they come home, like, you don't really know their situation, and the daily obstacles and just the influences and stuff that pulls you back. But people like you are still like, and like all of us here are trying to keep pushing forward and inspiring others. And my question to you would be like, what is like the vision for like the next 4 years for Underground Grit?
Yeah. So my vision is like, I'm not always going to be at Underground Grit. Like, that's real talk, because I feel like my dream is for one day, like, and I think for me and Suzanne, for one day, one of like our kids or two of our kids to take over Underground Grit. It's like, that's a dream, because it's like, to me, it's like if you look at my career, I actually like to like be the beginning of something, and then I want somebody else to kind of take over and keep flourishing it. And I feel like in everything that I've left, I know I've done a semi-good job, because better things come after. And that's a good thing. Like, it's like, to me, it's like, that's more of a compliment than if it died. And so, like, Juvenile Hall now has more programming than ever before. I'm like, that's right. Like, yeah, I was there when there was no programming. And yeah, I started programming in there for people to realize what it needed, but like, way better that there's like a ton of programming, and there's like a ton of programs now that are able to come in, and that they've opened up their eyes to that. And I think of that like with Underground Grit. It's like, I envision, like, I could tell you that I envision us to have like a bigger school program. So not the way you think. It's like, we go into, again, we like to push buttons of things that need to be pushed. So like, kids, there's a lot of kids incarcerated that need IEPs, or that need individualized plans that help them in their education system, that doesn't just push them out into like expulsions or things like that. So there's like a whole part of our program that does that. And that's kind of like something I would love to see grow. I know Suzanne's very passionate about that. So I just feel like that's something. And then the other part of me is like our holistic health stuff. We just did like a retreat not that long ago, and they did Reiki and like meditation, and I'm into all that jazz. And I used to do that stuff inside Juvenile Hall for them. I would do Reiki on my kids. I take the kids to get Reiki done now, but if we could have something that's just like permanent, I think that would be a cool vision.
Awesome.
And then not being there anymore. It's like, like, I want somebody else to do this work, and like, I want to look back and be like, those are our kids that are running that program, and that's right. Like, I'm being real talk. It's like, I don't want like an outsider. I want one of our kids that has changed, that has evolved, that has grown, that knows who we are, the heart of Underground Grit, and that can grow it and envision bigger things for it. And I think that that's real right there, what I want for it. I'm going to put that out there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And all it takes is
be that way.
faith of a mustard seed. So I believe it's going to happen. And thank God for the Crystal Guerras of the world, the Suzannes, the Scott Butnicks, the Jerseys, the people that help people, you know, because that's what this world needs. People helping people instead of dividing. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you having you here and sharing your story and everything that you do. We're here in your arsenal for whatever you need. If we can come and you know, talk to the at-risk kids or the youth about what we do, what we've been through, we're more than willing to. So thank you, Crystal, for your time.
I thank you, Crystal.
Thank you, guys.
With that being said, we will stay check out Underground Grid. Stay tuned and thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Honor.
Yeah.